This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome into you. I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Bryant. So good to have you with us here on Wednesday, July 6th. Another one of those humid days out there.
Yeah, maybe a bad hair day for you if you're anything like me. But,
summer continues.
You know, we're struggling together, right? Well, now at 6 a.m., developing news in Lexington. We're getting a look at new eyewitness video of a massive fire downtown.
Also on WKYT this morning, developing international news. South African Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius has been sentenced for murdering his girlfriend.
And the Lexington Humane Society needs your help this morning after losing hundreds of dollars during the Independence Day storms. We'll tell you how you can help them out coming up.
We have a couple of showers far south and southeastern Kentucky. You can see that on Defender early this morning. Other than that, we're looking pretty good. Not feeling great. It is humid outside, and it'll be that way later on this afternoon. Right around 90 degrees. Storms will be around deep into the afternoon, off into the evening hours, and another round for tonight. We're going to get into that stormy pattern coming up.
And first on WKYT News, we're following a developing story this morning. We've just received new eyewitness video of a fire near downtown Lexington that has now forced some neighbors from their homes.
Check out this video from Jason Sheffield. You can see flames shooting up from a building. That massive fire started around 4 o'clock this morning on Maryland Avenue. That's off Newtown Pike between West 2nd and West 3rd Streets. Several crews are still out there, and so is our own Mark Barber. He's been talking to witnesses and the homeowner, who says he thinks the fire was set on purpose. Good morning.
That's exactly right, Rebecca, and that fire started in a garage right behind this home here on Maryland Avenue, and he thinks that there's a lot more to this fire than meets the eye. He thinks it did not start on accident. Now, firefighters say they do have this fire under control right now, but the scene out here looked much different just a couple hours ago. Take a look at the video here. The fire started in a detached garage before 4 o'clock this morning. The fire quickly eating through the garage, leading neighbors to evacuate their homes. They were worried the fire would spread to other houses in the area because they were all very close together. The man who lives here says he let 2 homeless people stay in the garage, but his daughter kicked them out a month or 2 ago because they did not pay back money that they owed them. He thinks they came back this morning and started this fire because no one else has been in the garage since then.
It's sad, and I think I might know the people he's talking about because they actually used to have them mow the yards.
Now, of course, firefighters are investigating those claims at this time. They say it is still just too soon to determine how this fire started. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, a lot more answers to come there. Thank you very much, Mark. South African Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for killing his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp back on Valentine's Day in 2013. Pistorius was facing a possible 15-year jail term for shooting Steenkamp, but the judge ruled that substantial and compelling circumstances existed in the double amputee Olympic runner's case to give him a lesser sentence.
The National Weather Service confirms 2 tornadoes are responsible for damaging parts of Lawrence and Rockcastle County. Meteorologists say an EF2 tornado touched down in Louisa Monday, producing winds of up to 120 miles an hour. It caused damage throughout that community. It destroyed a Walmart as it was just packed with shoppers. Managers at that store tell us they hope to have the grocery section reopen this Saturday, but they say it'll be another 6 to 8 weeks for the rest of that store to be back up and running.
And in Rockcastle County, meteorologists say a tornado touched down there. This one was an EF1. Despite being less powerful, winds still reached up to 90 miles per hour. The tornado damaged 7 homes in the Brodhead area. Most of the damage was along Hacker Lane, where several cars were flipped by the strong winds. Rockcastle County emergency managers say no one was injured, but many are still cleaning up the damage this morning. Remember, you can track storms when you're away from the TV with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. Download that for free in the app or Google Play stores.
The Lexington Humane Society is asking for help this morning after those strong 4th of July storms and winds that blew through downtown washed away their donations,
really,
literally.
Something to see, you know, as the tents were whipped around. They say that the loss is a huge setback for them. Now they're hoping that you will step up and help them out. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner explains how.
The Lexington Humane Society is at capacity right now, and that's why the organization says it's in need after Monday's storm swept away one of its biggest fundraisers. Right now, the Humane Society has around 500 animals. Most of those are kittens. On Monday, they were trying to raise money for all of those animals when the wind and rain hit, sweeping away donations. Victoria Benson said it all clicked when she saw money floating down the street and into storm drains.
All of a sudden, the tents were lifting off the ground and across the street. All the merchandise got soaked. We had donation jars falling off the ground, breaking, and then dollar bills were just streaming down the street. We were trying to catch all of them.
The Lexington Humane Society says those donations help take care of animals until they find their forever homes. We have more information on our website. That's WKYT.com. In Lexington, Caitlin Setner, WKYT.
Hundreds gathered in Bardstown to pray for a missing Nelson County mother. Sunday marked the one-year anniversary of Crystal Rogers' disappearance. Investigators still do not know what happened to her. Last night, friends and family held a candlelit vigil for Rogers and released balloons in her honor. Rogers' parents told us the community's support has kept them going over the last year.
We have more hope now than we've ever had. So we're hoping, this pans out and everything will turn out and we'll get some kind of justice. And hopefully we'll find where she's at.
The Nelson County Sheriff's Office has named Rogers' boyfriend Brooks Houck as a suspect in the case, but he has not been charged.
The Kentucky Hunger Task Force will be holding a regional meeting in Lexington tomorrow. That panel will discuss combating the state's hunger problem as well as trying to determine logistics of how to meet the needs of each region in the state. Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles, who launched the task force last month, says it is unacceptable to have such a hunger problem in a state with a rich agricultural history. An annual study by Feeding America shows 17% of Kentucky's population is currently struggling to avoid hunger. The Ark Encounter Park in Grant County officially opens up tomorrow. Thousands of people got a sneak peek yesterday. The group behind the park, Answers in Genesis, projects 2 million people will visit Ark Encounter in its first year. Ticket prices are $40 for adults and $28 for children.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
In terms of rain, not a bad start to the day. In terms of humidity, it does not feel good outside. I can promise you that as you're walking out the door. It's kind of like a sauna as you're walking out the door. We have 74 degrees here in Lexington. Dew points at 72. That is a nasty, nasty feel. A couple of sprinkles, a couple light showers, south and southeast. Other than that, we're really not seeing much go on. London, Corbin coming in at 72 degrees. Jackson, you can see in the mid-70s. That goes for Frankfort and Lexington as well. Not much happening this morning. Cloudy skies laying around. It's not going to be the best looking day. You have mostly cloudy skies today. There's only a slight chance of rain like we're seeing this morning through the morning hours into mid-afternoon. I'd say mid-afternoon anywhere from 2 to 4 p.m. But after that, you start to see that first batch of rain move on in. Anywhere from 4 or 5 p.m., 6 p.m., that's when you start to see it move in the west. And it comes sliding on in here and giving us some heavy downpours. That's your first batch of rain off into the evening hours. So anywhere from 4 p.m. to about 8 p.m. That's your best bet for the first round of thunderstorms. Then we hit the nighttime hours anywhere from 11 p.m. to about 5 a.m. That's when you get the next round of storms. And I believe the next round during that time, the second round, that 11 p.m. to about 5 a.m., that actually could be the stronger round that could give us the potential for some strong thunderstorms, heavy downpours, a lot of lightning. And that's why we have that marginal risk of severe weather. Remember, marginal being the lowest end of severe weather risk that we can actually have, but nonetheless, we're still talking about a risk out there, and that's going to be the case as we head off into the night. So we'll still get some rounds of thunderstorms. You will get big breaks in the action. If you're trying to knock out some plans today, you'll still be able to do that. It's just late in the afternoon, off into the evening hours, here comes some rumbles of thunder. And that pattern lasts throughout Friday. It's going to be today, Thursday, Friday, very rainy, very stormy. Remember, you will get some dry conditions here and there. And then we hit the weekend, guys. The weekend looks much, much better. So I don't see much in the way of the weekend for all these events going on. We have a lot of events. The big one is the NASCAR Quaker State 400. Sparta. I remember it was either last year or the year before. I mean, it was just storm after storm. Yeah. It might have been both years. Yeah. And hopefully, well, as of right now, I don't see anything. Yeah,
they had some challenges, the parking the first year and all of that, but then the rains. But yeah, hopefully this year here, it all
Yeah, it
should
looks
work
pretty
out.
good right
We're
now.
good. 6:09 is our time this morning.
Let's bring you some traffic to see what's happening out on the roads today.
And here's a look at what's going on right now in the region. As you see there, it looks good. We have no reports of any problems throughout the area. The interstates are running fine. And we'll look in town at the Lexington-Fayette Urban County Government camera at Newtown Pike and I-75. And again, traffic pretty light this morning and no reports of any delays.
Yeah, it's looking good out there.
More news coming up on WKYT here on your Wednesday morning.
An officer-involved shooting in Baton Rouge is sparking protest in the community. We'll have a look at this case when we return. It's 6:14 this morning. Hillary Clinton is set to take aim at Donald Trump's failed business dealings in Atlantic City today. It's a major address delivered in the New Jersey town.
Yesterday, the presumptive Republican nominee blasted the FBI over its decision not to pursue criminal charges against Clinton over her use of private email servers while she was Secretary of State. Trump says the decision reflects a, quote, rigged system, adding that Clinton has horrible judgment, his words. A police-involved shooting has left a Louisiana man dead. Officers responded to a call Tuesday morning about a man threatening an anonymous caller with a gun.
The Baton Rouge community now on edge as they await more details on this. Hannah Daniels is at the CBS Broadcast Center with details.
In Jesus' name. Protesters took to the streets of Baton Rouge Tuesday night after reports a Louisiana police officer shot and killed a man outside a local convenience store. Police say 37-year-old Alton Sterling scuffled with the two responding officers. An autopsy shows Sterling died of multiple gunshot wounds to the chest and back.
My brother didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it at all.
His family is now asking for answers. Sterling's sister says her brother has been selling CDs outside the store for years.
Just to open fire, that's not the answer. That was a life that you took away. That was a family member.
A video that claims to be of the incident has been posted online. One of the officers is heard yelling that Sterling has a gun just before gunshots are heard. When paramedics arrived, Sterling was dead on the scene.
Hands up, don't shoot!
Protesters gathered at the scene early Tuesday afternoon, and the size of the crowd grew throughout the night.
The worries are that we're not going to get the information that we need to cool this situation down, and this may definitely be the next Ferguson right here in Baton Rouge. That's the worries.
Both officers have been placed on administrative leave pending further investigation. Hannah Daniels, CBS News.
Well, Baton Rouge police are expected to hold a news conference later this morning. A Louisiana state politician tells CBS affiliate WFAB that police have surveillance video from the store and dash cam video from a police car. Those have not been released.
A top naval official is under investigation this morning after pulling a gun on a group of young men outside of a Washington suburb. The incident last month was recorded on cell phone video, and it apparently shows Carnegie O'Hannison threatening the men and accusing them of being drunk. So far, no charges have been filed against him.
Lakes around Orlando, Florida still have swimmers despite new warnings about alligators. Officials say 50 new signs warning of gators and reptiles are posted at boat ramps and parks with high traffic. Orange County Parks and Recreation installed the signage in an abundance of caution after a gator killed a 2-year-old boy at a Disney resort last month.
Time this morning is 6:16. Starting next week, be prepared to shell out some extra change for your next cup of Starbucks coffee. The coffee chain will raise prices on select beverages starting July 12th. Prices are expected to rise as much as 30 cents. Starbucks last raised its prices last July. 4 years after bankruptcy, Twinkies manufacturer Hostess is planning to go public again. The company's new majority owner announced the $725 million deal yesterday. Owners now plan to make a public offering for Hostess shares, expecting the value to be about $2.3 billion. The deal is expected to close in the third quarter. Also this morning, Delta taking a $450 million loss because jet fuel prices didn't climb as much as the airline bet they would. The Atlanta-based airline's fuel contracts, or hedges, projected prices would hit levels above current market value. While they did go up, it was not as much as Delta thought. So the carrier has pulled out of its contracts and taken the loss. The hit follows a loss of $274 million in the first quarter of this year. It's National Fried Chicken Day, and purveyors of the poultry are celebrating. KFC is launching what they call a sensory video online to help customers appreciate their extra crispy recipe. Church's Chicken and Popeyes are both offering deep fried discounts as well, just for today. Big day.
Well, have fun with that for all you lucky folks who can actually indulge a little bit of fried chicken. I know I can't. WKYT this morning is just getting started. A man is lucky to be alive after his boat caught fire out at sea. Coming up, a look at the intense fire caught on camera.
Things are pretty good right now. We do have a couple of showers down toward the south and southeast, but look at your multiple waves of storms heading our direction. Yeah, we're going to have that today and for the next few days. I'm going to get into that forecast coming up.
Well, dozens of crews still on scene of an early morning fire near downtown Lexington.
That's what's trending at this hour. I want to bring you up to the minute now. The fire started around 4 o'clock on Maryland Avenue off West 2nd Street near Newtown Pike. The homeowner is telling WKYT News that he does not think this was an accident. Firefighters are investigating that claim of arson. He says it may be for revenge. So far, they say it is too soon to determine how the fire started. A quick check of weather now with meteorologist Micah Harris. That humidity is still going to be brutal out there today, Micah.
Yeah, it is. And once you step out the door early this morning, even when I walked out the door this morning, you're talking about feeling like a sauna outside. And that's just going to be the case the next 3 days. Down toward the south and southeast, we have a couple of sprinkles, a couple light showers, but it's mainly dry out there early this morning for your commute. If you're one of those walkers, runners, yeah, it's in terms of rain, I don't see much in the way, but in terms of humidity, you will be sweating this morning. Promise you that. Slight chance of rain there by lunchtime. The bulk of the action, there's two waves. One comes during the afternoon, deep into the afternoon, 4, 5, 6 p.m. and off into the evening hours. And then the next one actually comes later on into the night and into early tomorrow morning. So that's going to be really the focus of the forecast when we're talking about the next 24 hours. But the next 2 to 3 days is the main focus. Rounds of thunderstorms are back in there, guys. We're going to be going over that in your full forecast just a few minutes.
Thank you. We'll see you shortly. 6:23 our time now on WKYT. And a man is in custody after police say he stole an ambulance from outside a Florida hospital and took it for a joyride.
The man stole the ambulance while it was parked outside an Orlando hospital. Little did he know that the EMT was still inside. Police say the medical technician was able to jump out without getting hurt. Take a listen to the play-by-play, according to investigators.
He was in the back and he was yelling at him to stop the truck, and the gentleman, whoever it was, slowed down the truck and he jumped out. The EMT jumped out of the truck, and it was a chase ensued, but different rescue units that were in the area that heard the call and followed him to this location, and the guy bailed out of the truck.
A Good Samaritan helped detain the driver until police could arrest him. Police say it's lucky nobody got hurt in the chase, I'll say. Woo. Okay,
we'll see how he explains that to the judge, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, a retired veteran is lucky to be alive after his boat burst into flames shortly after leaving the dock.
Yeah, take a look at these photos of the fire fully engulfing that boat. Wow. And the boat's owner, Timothy Lenz, said he was below deck when he smelled smoke, and then moments later, flames covered his boat. Lenz said he had no choice but to abandon ship. Afterwards, the military veteran recalled having some close calls while serving overseas, but he said this was his closest. Whew. Wow.
Yikes.
Hard to imagine anybody got out of that okay.
Yeah, especially when you're below deck, right. You know.
He just bailed out very quickly.
Yeah, jump out in that water.
6:25 now on your Wednesday morning. It's hump day, everybody. We're about to get headed toward that weekend.
Yes, it is in sight, right? Yeah. When we return, the new Scott County Superintendent met with community members last night. What he has planned for the new school year coming up at 6:30.
We'll be hearing from him. All of our top stories are on the way, and tonight's Powerball jackpot is $257 million. And after nobody claimed the winning ticket for last night's Mega Millions drawing, Friday night's Mega Millions jackpot is now $508 million. We'll be right back.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Kentucky mornings start here on WKYT. Good morning. That includes this one. It is Wednesday, July 6th. I'm Bill Bryant.
I'm Rebecca Smith. Thanks so much for being here and starting your morning off with us.
Going to deal with that humidity today. We'll be all right, right? Now 6:30. Yep. Crews are investigating what caused an early morning fire in Lexington. The homeowner says he thinks it was set on purpose. We'll have the latest on that developing story just ahead.
The Lexington Humane Society is asking for help after storms literally blew away their fundraiser. What you can do to help these little kitties and doggies.
And if you live in the Lexington area, your water rates could be going up. What you can expect ahead on WKYT this morning.
Couple of sprinkles, couple light showers far south and southeastern Kentucky, and that's about all you're seeing early this morning. It's humid though. I promise you that. 74 degrees here in Frankfort and Lexington. I'm going to get into your forecast, show you when you can expect those storms to arrive today. Coming up.
Let's get right to the news here on WKYT. Firefighters have been working this morning to put out a fire on Maryland Drive in Lexington.
The homeowner says he does not think the fire was an accident. WKYT's Mark Barber is live with more for us on explaining this situation. Dramatic video, Mark.
Rebecca, the man who owns a garage here on Maryland Avenue thinks someone set this garage on fire to get revenge. He says his daughter is heartbroken because her only pictures of her dead husband and their 3 children were inside that building. Now, the homeowner tells me that they were letting 2 homeless people stay in that garage. He says that his daughter, though, kicked them out about a month or 2 ago because they weren't paying back the money that they had loaned them. He says no one else has been in the garage since that fight, so he thinks they came back and set it on fire this morning. Nearby houses were evacuated because neighbors worried the flames would spread. It was a terrifying morning for children who waited outside their homes, waiting to see if they would lose anything. One neighbor heard someone take off through their yard right before the fire started.
Oh, woman over on the porch, she don't want to be interviewed though. She said that she actually saw someone run through, or she didn't see them, but someone ran through her backyard and hopped the fence over onto 3rd Street because her dogs went off after him.
This is a case of arson. They say at this time it is still too soon to say how this fire started. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
New on WKYT this morning, a man who tried to speed away from police is in jail after getting stuck in his wrecked car. Police say an officer tried to pull over Thomas Quinard for speeding when he stepped on the gas even more. Moments later, he crashed on the ramp from New Circle onto Newtown Pike. Police say they found a couple of stolen guns in the vehicle. Quinard was not hurt in the crash and is facing a list of charges.
A well-known Lexington minister will be laid to rest today. The Reverend Wayne Smith died last week. As the founder of Southland Christian Church, Reverend Smith grew the church into one of the largest denominational churches there in central Kentucky. A visitation for Smith will be held this morning at 10 o'clock at Southland Christian Church on Harrodsburg Road. His funeral will follow at 1 o'clock this afternoon at the same location there at the church.
The last of 3 public hearings to discuss Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin's plan to overhaul the Kentucky Medicaid program will be held in Hazard today. Governor Bevin has told Medicaid recipients that they will have to pay monthly premiums while maintaining a job to still get benefits. The governor says the program is too expensive in its current stage, and the goal is to move people into the private insurance market. The federal government must approve the governor's request for a waiver, but if it's denied, he says he will eliminate the state's expanded Medicaid program. Well, new this morning, the governor says he wants to eliminate or revise some of the state's 4,500 regulations governing private businesses.
And this story came in the middle of the night. He announced his red tape reduction initiative just after midnight this morning. The review is modeled after a similar one done in Canada. A study by George Mason University says that reform has resulted in 37% of regulations being eliminated. The governor's office says since 1974, at least 15% of Kentucky's business regulations have never been reviewed. Bevin also set up a website to solicit recommendations from businesses and from the general public. You will find a link to that on our website, WKYT.com, or on our news app.
Lexington city officials and the city's Fraternal Order of Police have signed off on a 4-year contract. The contract includes pay raises for nearly 500 officers and sergeants and allows Police Chief Mark Barnard more flexibility for duty assignments. The contract also allows police to use cruisers for personal use at no cost. The contract is worth nearly $4 million over the next 4-year period. New this morning, the Lexington Urban County Council has approved Kentucky American Water's proposed rate increase. According to our news partners at the Herald Leader, details of the settlement won't be released until later today. The water company is asking for a rate increase that would impact more than 100,000 customers in and around Lexington. On average, the proposed increase would add about $6 to the average residential customer's monthly bill. The Herald Leader reports that the settlement agreement must still be approved by the State Public Service Commission. Well, portions of southern Kentucky dealt with a few scattered showers yesterday, but many areas stayed pretty dry. May not be the case necessarily today.
And it's going to be humid. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is in our First Alert Weather Center with a closer look at your forecast.
Yeah, when you walk outside, you know something's on the way. It is just that sticky. And we're looking down south. That's where we're seeing a couple of blips here and there. But I want you to pay attention toward the north of us and to the west of us. We actually have some showers and thunderstorms heading our direction. Those are two pieces of energy we got to watch very closely because that's going to be heading our way. That is what will give us those rounds of thunderstorms as we head not only through today, but off into your Thursday and Friday. So the hour-by-hour forecast, only slight chance of rain now through about 3 or 4 p.m. After that, you get the first batch of rain around 4 to 8 p.m. That's the first batch. At a couple of rumbles of thunder. And then the next batch, what I believe is the strongest batch of storms, actually comes during the night. And so that could keep a few of us up later on tonight. That will give us the opportunity to maybe even see an isolated severe storm. Now, we're going to have the severe chances increase next couple of days, and I'm going to show you that. But your weekend forecast looks much better. I'll have that coming up in just a few minutes.
Hey, we'll help people make their plans for the weekend here with that forecast in a bit.
All right, so the Lexington Humane Society needs some help this morning. They say they lost numerous donations when those very strong winds and strong storms blew through on 4th of July downtown in Lexington.
Yeah, we knew about that, didn't we? Down there for the parade, and they just whipped right through downtown. No people or animals were injured, but workers say it is a big setback for them. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner is joining us now to explain on how you can now help.
Humane Society leaders say they realized what happened when they saw money floating down the street and into storm drains. The Lexington Humane Society is at capacity right now. That's why the organization says it's in need after Monday's storm washed away what's typically its biggest fundraiser. Right now, the Humane Society has around 500 animals. Most of those are kittens. Victoria Benson recalls how quickly everything was lost Monday.
Well, we lost 2 of our 10-by-10 tents that flew across the street, and they were so mangled they couldn't even be folded back together. And then a lot of our t-shirts and hats from the rain, they bled onto each other, so they're completely ruined. And all of the toys that we took to sell were ruined as well.
The Lexington Humane Society says those donations help take care of animals until they find their forever homes. We have more information on our website. That's WKYT.com. In Lexington, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
Caitlin, thank you very much. Hopefully some folks can help out in that situation. A former accountant who admitted embezzling millions of dollars from a Lexington business is planning to appeal his sentence. A federal judge sentenced James Hammis to 8 years in prison last month, followed by 3 years probation for wire fraud. That sentence was higher than what prosecutors had recommended, but the judge cited the large amount of money involved and the fact that Hammis was on the run for years.
Several musicians hosted a benefit concert for a Lexington music producer as he continues to recover after being shot. Coleman Saunders was badly injured last month when 3 men robbed and shot him. Last night, a fundraiser was hosted at Willie's, locally known, to raise money for his family. Saunders couldn't attend, but he gave his friend, Sunday best singer Christopher Bentley, a thank you letter to share with those who came out to support him.
The jogger who found me dying is why I took a breath this morning. The love of God, family, and friends is why I still have my life. I thank every one of you for that.
Doctors say Saunders still has a few more months before he will be fully recovered. Lexington police still have not made any arrests in the shooting. The new superintendent of Scott County Schools was introduced last night. The Scott County School Board welcomed Dr. Kevin Hubb with an ice cream social. Hubb says student growth is among his top priorities. He also says members of the community should have a chance to decide whether a second high school should be built.
I'm just excited to be here. I think it's got an outstanding reputation to deliver world-class education for our students, outstanding teachers, supportive and caring leadership, and a support staff that really adds to the student engagement and the instructional value in our classes.
Before becoming the Scott County superintendent, Hub was the superintendent of Logan County Schools out in western Kentucky. So it looks like they feel they have a lot of confidence in his ability
well,
to.
And he looks like he has determination in his eyes, doesn't he? He's ready to go up there.
He does.
All right, very good. 6:39 on WKYT this morning.
Let's get a check of traffic, see what's happening.
And we'll have a live drive look right now. First of all, there's the situation with the current traffic. You see clean and green. We have no reports of any troubles on the interstates. I-64, I-75 flowing well. The Lexington Fayette Urban County Government's live drive cam now taking us to South Broadway and High Street. The early birds are on the move, and it's fairly light traffic. No issues right now.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Get the latest traffic and weather info anytime with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. Download that. It's free in the app or Google Play stores. And we're coming up on 6:40. Good to have you with us on WKYT on this Wednesday morning.
Well, 2 little boys in West Virginia have taken it upon themselves to help those affected by flooding. We'll have a look at how they're turning lemons into donations when we return.
And we're looking at a couple of sprinkles down south. It's a humid feel outside. Storms are on their way. I'm going to show you when they arrive and how to plan out the rest of your day coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Defender showing a couple of sprinkles down south, a couple light showers. All that is trying to move toward the east and southeast. There's not much to it. It's very brief, too. 75 degrees there in Frankfort. It is a humid feel early this morning, very sticky today. And it was sticky yesterday, but it gets much warmer today. Along with that humidity, it's just not going to feel great. I promise you that. We get into your afternoon. Now through about 3 or 4 p.m., it's only a slight chance of rain, but as we get towards your 4, 5, 6 p.m., that's when you start to see the bulk of the storms move on in, and that'll go through the evening hours too, as you see a few thunderstorms here in the forecast. That's your first batch. Your next batch is the one that I'm most concerned about as we head off into the night. Watch this. There's 2 a.m., right? Yeah, anywhere from 11 p.m. to about 5 a.m. So when you see these storms move on in, so it's going to be an overnight thing for a few of us. And then we head off towards your Thursday. Thursday, another round of thunderstorms in the forecast. And you'll get bits and pieces, breaks here and there. But then here comes Friday, another round of thunderstorms in the forecast. And so it's just going to be one round after another. You're going to get heavy downpours, 1 to 2 inches of rain expected for most, maybe a little bit higher for any areas that have picked up thunderstorm after thunderstorm. So then we head off towards your weekend, and your weekend looks much better. But before then, we're looking at some pretty heavy downpours, a lot of lightning within these. And not only that, but maybe even the possibility of some severe weather as we make our way through the next 3 days. Your breakdown of your 7-day forecast looks like this. It's a good chance of rain, but remember, much of your day stays dry. All right, it's going to be deep into the afternoon, off into the evening hours. You actually see some of these storms roll on in. And then overnight and into tomorrow morning, here comes some more rumbles of thunder as they pass on through. That's the one I'm most concerned about. And when I say most concerned about, it's just the difference from those two is what I'm most concerned about. It's not so much just widespread severe storms. You'll get strong storms overnight, but severe weather is unlikely, but it's not zero overnight. Then we hit Thursday, Friday, still looking at the potential for strong, potentially a couple of isolated severe cells. And it's that Saturday and Sunday, guys, that we actually clear some things on out. Not only does it look good on Saturday and Sunday, but it feels much better. Instead of the upper 80s, lower 90s, we're going to be there in low to mid 80s. Not only that, but we're hoping to knock down this humidity, because the humidity is what feels nasty outside. The sun, when I was up getting off to work, sun wasn't even up yet, and it still felt like a sauna outside. It's just so nasty, so sticky, and that's the way it's going to be the next few days.
It is July.
Yes, thick air out there this morning.
You're
All
right.
right, Micah, thank you so much. It is 6:46 right now. Love this story.
Yeah, 2 little boys with big hearts and a sense of business at the same time, taking it upon themselves to help out those people who are affected by flooding in West Virginia.
Yeah, brothers Jacob and Mason Boyette live in northern West Virginia, but they decided they would help after seeing just how many people were affected. So the duo decided to set up a lemonade stand and collect money. Despite being only 9 and 6, Jacob and Mason's parents say the boys have always understood the importance of helping others in a time of need. Several people have donated their lemonade stand, and just after a few days, the boys have already raised more than $1,000. So they probably didn't imagine it going that well. That's
that is
very
so
good.
neat.
Help out the victims there.
Yeah, cool
Good
stuff.
deal. Good to have you along on WKYT this morning as we roll toward the 7 o'clock hour and CBS This Morning shortly.
We have more news as well when we return.
Coming up, no criminal charges recommended against Hillary Clinton, but will the FBI's findings in the email probe damage her campaign? Plus, we travel to Rio where crime is spiking just ahead of the Olympics. More real news coming up on CBS This Morning, next.
CBS This Morning is on the way shortly in about 10 minutes, live from the CBS Broadcast Center.
How many vacation days do you let slip away?
Well, breaking down why scheduling that deserved time off is so important. That's one of the big stories this morning on CBS This Morning.
Well, a large fire near downtown Lexington and Oscar Pistorius sentenced to 6 years in prison. Those are just some of the stories making news headlines this morning, and Bill has a look at what is trending on the web.
Right, that fire started about 4 o'clock this morning on Maryland Avenue. The owner says he was letting 2 homeless people live in his garage, and he's told WKYT's Mark Barber that he thinks the men set the fire out of revenge after his daughter kicked them out. We're posting the amazing eyewitness video that's been sent in and interviews as well on WKYT's Facebook page, so check that out. We also have the breaking details of Oscar Pistorius' 6-year sentence. The double amputee Olympian was convicted of killing his girlfriend on Valentine's Day in 2013. Also, details about a new lawsuit against Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis. A man says Davis won't let him marry his laptop. Check out WKYT.com for the explanation of all of that. And it looks like we will have to dodge more rain this week. Micah says the weekend, though, is looking better. And you, of course, can see his 7-day forecast anytime on WKYT.com.
Thank you, Bill. A Kentucky teen's 4th of July weekend ended with a trip to the hospital after a firework exploded right next to him.
Went up in the air, it didn't blow up, so they thought it was a dud. But then about 10 seconds later, it fell down right beside me.
Kyle Davis was at a cookout in Lawrence County when one of his friends launched off a firework. The explosion mangled Kyle's hand. His mother says she was shocked to see just how badly her son was hurt.
Every year you hear about statistics and things of fireworks, and sometimes I just think that you think that it can't happen to you as long as you're being safe, but now we know that that's not true at all.
Doctors say Kyle will need a couple of months to recover. The Davis family says from now on they will stay away from fireworks.
In Kentucky, a divorced Laurel County couple is behind bars after deputies found them with a large marijuana growing operation. Deputies were first called to a home on Highway 233 for a complaint that Christina Lockhart and her ex-husband Casey Lockhart were fighting. They say 2 children were also at the home. But upon arriving, deputies found more than 100 marijuana plants growing in an outbuilding. They also found 3 stolen shotguns. The Lockharts both face several charges, including endangering the welfare of minors. Casey Lockhart also faces charges for growing marijuana. Well, some high drama at a California shopping store center there. Surveillance cameras captured a man trying to kidnap a little girl.
Take a look at this frightening footage. The store owner says the girl's mother told her she noticed a strange man in the parking lot. Seconds later, that man came up and grabbed her daughter. Mom and another customer ran after the girl, who managed to break free. The store owner, who also has a daughter, said it's a scary reminder to always be on alert.
And knowing it could have easily been my daughter if I had brought her to work with me.
The little girl was shaken from the experience, but otherwise okay. Witnesses said people nearby tackled the man and held him until police arrived to arrest him. Scary stuff there.
Yeah, sure.
Well, Hillary Clinton heads to Atlantic City today. She's expected to take aim at Donald Trump's failed business dealings in that New Jersey town.
And the address comes just a day after Trump and other Republicans blasted Clinton and the FBI over her use of private email servers. Hannah Daniels has the latest on Campaign 2016.
We have a rigged system, folks.
Campaigning in North Carolina yesterday, Donald Trump refused to move past Hillary Clinton's email scandal, despite the FBI's decision not to recommend charges against her.
She is laughing at the stupidity of our system. She is laughing, and so is her husband, Bill.
Trump continued his attacks on Twitter, saying the, quote, rigged system allowed Clinton to get away with murder. While the FBI could not support bringing charges, FBI Director James Comey did criticize Clinton and her aides for being extremely careless.
Any reasonable person in Secretary Clinton's position should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
The FBI announcement came just hours before Clinton campaigned alongside President Obama for the first time. Clinton trashed Trump's fitness to be president.
Can you imagine him sitting in the Oval Office?
As the president vouched for her trustworthiness and dedication.
There has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office.
Vice President Joe Biden will join Clinton on the campaign trail later this week in the key swing state of Pennsylvania. Hannah Daniels, CBS News.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump will campaign today with former House Speaker Newt Gingrich in Cincinnati. Gingrich is reportedly on Trump's vice presidential short list. Well, a remorseful thief tried to make up for a crime, but the victim is not satisfied.
Leslie Miller was expecting a package at her Indiana home. Instead, she found $25 in her mailbox and a note on the cash saying, "Stole your pants. Felt sorry about it." Turns out a thief had stolen the package of leggings. While she appreciates the money, Miller says she'd rather just have the leggings that were inside the package back.
It's a great gesture and you felt bad about it, but it's still, I mean, it doesn't make up for the fact that you stole out of a mailbox or stole somebody's property that's not yours.
I take it those are the leggings there? If the thief really wants to make good, Miller says he or she still owes her. Is that right? Are those the leggings?
Well, whatever they are,
okay. Well,
they were stolen.
I was about to say, I like those leggings. I mean, I get it, but I'd be a little worried about where those leggings were.
She says the thief came up $10 short in trying to make up for what he had done. All right, we're going to check in with Micah and weather this morning and see what's going on. We certainly have had some brutal humidity around these parts.
Yeah, and we're feeling that early this morning. We get into your afternoon and off into the evening. That's your first batch of rain that rolls on through. Slight chance until then. And then later on tonight, guys, that's when we're going to be looking at another round of thunderstorms. Later on tonight, it could get active. We could hear a lot of thunder and also very heavy downpours later on tonight. So it could keep a few of us up. We'll see.
Wow.
Bad timing on that. Nobody's more up to date than you to start your day. Thank you so much for being with us. CBS This Morning is on the way next.
Have an awesome day.